You're listening to Navid Moosa of the Mindset Movement. Good day, good people. My name is Navid Moosa. I'm your host today and always for the Mindset Movement, the podcast. The website is up, navidmoosa.com, where you can find out information about how to become an agent tour. An agent tour is a real estate agent who wants to be more than just that, and a real estate agent who wants to be an entrepreneur, an investor. And we have 5 modules there, which you can purchase individually or bundle up and save a couple of bucks. So listen, first-time listeners, thank you. We appreciate you giving us opportunity. Long-time listeners, thanks for loyalty. And first-time listeners, if you don't like this, give us another opportunity. Listen to some other episodes. Come back next week. If you do like it, but it's not for you, please share some and spread the word. We appreciate that. We get into it each and every week. No fluff, no stuff. So this week's no different. I want to talk about reflecting versus reliving. I'll say it again. I want to talk about reflecting versus reliving. Now, when you say it out loud, right, it's an obvious statement. Reflecting is one thing. You look at something, you think about it real quick, you reflect on your good or bad experience, and that's it. Reliving is another thing. Reliving is you just, in that moment, whatever that was, you want to relive it for one reason or another. Sometimes they get intertwined without us knowing it. Sometimes the emotion behind both of those topics become intertwined, and reflecting can become reliving. And here's what I mean specifically. Let's just say, and we'll talk about relationships in general. It's probably the easiest way to do it. You're in a relationship with somebody and you have your good times and your bad times, and it comes to an end. The relationship comes to an end, and you're now moved on to another relationship. You see patterns, or what you think are patterns, of your previous relationship into this new one. And so we reflect on that initially, right? We're like, oh, I've seen this before. I didn't like it then. I'm not going to like it now. But what happens is, in that moment of reflection, we behave in a manner that makes us relive that moment. I'm going to say it again. In that moment of reflection, we behave in a manner that makes us relive it. So what I mean is, your previous relationship did something that you didn't like, your partner, right? So you acted in this particular manner because that's what they were giving you. So this new relationship you're in is giving you a similar look in that one aspect, but you treat it in the exact same way. Instead of taking the whole picture, it's that incident plus some other factors, different factors, that you don't take into effect. So you treat that situation the same way. And you're back to square one. And what you're doing, whether we know it or not, in my opinion, is you're reliving that moment. Reflection is one thing. Reflecting is, okay, here's what I did wrong. Where I did this wrong. I did this. Here's what was the outcome. I didn't like it. What could I have done better? And so that moment of what could I have done better is a reflecting moment. Okay. Reliving is been there before, seen it, done that. Nope. Here's how I dealt with it before. I'm going to set that shit down. I'm going to do the same thing again. You're reliving it. And you're not just reliving it by going through the physical motions of what you're saying and doing. You're emotionally going through it and reliving it as well. Because the anger you had before has now been, basically, you brought that previous anger, added to this new anger, and now you're displacing it to the wrong individual, right? We all do that. Think about your customer. Sometimes you could have a customer who screwed you over on a payment, who didn't want to pay you something. And you're like, I'm not doing this shit again. And then another customer goes on, and this customer has the same mannerisms or whatever, and it triggers something in your mind like, oh, this person ain't going to pay me. I know what's going to happen. And instead of you cutting it off, you just write off, you go into it with a negative fashion. Instead of saying, okay, this person did this, but that was this person. And now this person is doing something similar, not 100%, but very similar. So I'm going to treat it the same way. Well, how did the previous way go for you? It didn't go for you probably very well, but we don't remember that, right? We don't realize that. We're not reflecting on it. We're reliving it. And that's what I'm trying to talk about, is the fact that, emotion's a son of a bitch. And I've said this in several other podcasts. Emotions, it's a son of a bitch. It's expensive. And when you make your decisions based off of emotions, that it just can't be good. You either overcommit, right? Or you just don't excel in those situations when emotions involved. And in my opinion, reflecting is non-emotional, where reliving is emotional. Every opportunity that you get, in my opinion, is an opportunity to reflect if it's something that you've been through before. But when you reflect on it, you're like, here's what I did. Here's how they responded. Could I have done it differently? Because remember, people, no two people are alike. Similarities are there, okay, but identical, no. Hell, even identical twins aren't identical. Think about that on an emotional basis, they're not. All right. So you have, in my opinion, you have to understand that just because person A did this to you in this situation doesn't mean person B will do the same thing in the same situation, because there's a lot of other factors, not just that one factor. Right. So when you're reflecting in the moment, you need to reflect as a whole. You can't just reflect in that one bit of time. And when we're reflecting, look at the bare facts. When we reflect, usually emotion is involved, and that's the reliving part of it. Right? You reflect on something, man, I was at a great time, I had a good time, you start smiling and you feel good. Or you know what? Oh, that was a shitty time. I never want to go through that again. I'm not going back to that portion of my life. And that emotion comes in, right? Either that high of happiness or that low of just being pissed off or just being angry. And then we start reliving it. Right now, we take that emotion from the reflection, and now we're taking that same emotion from the reflection and put it into this brand new situation. That's when it becomes reliving. And so it's something I try to practice, is that whenever I tell myself, man, I've seen this before, I'm like, okay, just take a deep breath. This is a different person, similar situation, different person. So what are all the factors involved? I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it works out 10 times out of 10, but I'll give it an 80% success rate when I do that, in my opinion. So, that this one is a short and sweet one today. It was just something that was that came up in other forums, and I was like, let me talk about it as well, because it's something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I figured I'd just do it now, and it's not long and drawn out, but when you reflect on something, remember it's just a reflection of that moment. Do not relive that moment. It doesn't make any sense. There's no progression in that, in my opinion. So again, each and every week, thank you for your time. First off, thank you for joining us here. Each and every week, we end the show the same way, and that is just do right by the client. If you do right by the client, everything else will fall into place. I promise you that. And sometimes the client is you. Take care. Be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. Be safe out there. And I'll see y'all next week.